So, hi there everybody. I hope we are live. I think we should be. So, let's see. Welcome to Maurits. Welcome to Victoria. Hi Patricia. Good to have you. Hi to Julia. Hi to Vitali. Hi to Keyword. Hi Manisco. Hi there Yuri. And hi to Oksana. And hi to Julia as well. I think that's it for the moment, but I'm sure we'll have more as we go. Okay, this article about, really the article's about dating. It started talking about fans and the language of fans. Let me get this closer to me so I can see better. Okay, so let's go for it then. So next stream is on Thursday, day after tomorrow, which will be at 3:30 p.m. UK time. So let's go for it. So the aim, yes, was to save these mementos in a clip, scrap, junk, shred memory book. All about the fannies. Yes, Patricia. So Maurits says scrapbook. Scrapbook, says Vitali. Scrapbook, says KB. Says Keyword. Hi Lando. Scrapbook, says Lando. Scrapbook, says Julia. Let's come down. That's better. Memory book. Ha. Okay. Let's see, memory book says Manisco, memory book says Yuri, scrapbook says Oksana, scrapbook says Patricia. A scrap is a little piece of something. You cut scraps out of from different things. There's a scrap of paper. A scrap in this case is a small piece. A junk journal too, and does the same. That's good. A scrapbook is a collocation. It's a book where you put in the book the ticket from the concert you went to last week and the rose a petal from the rose that you picked and gave your girlfriend. And okay, it's little mementos. It's a little book of things, a scrapbook. It's a collocation. And this is the phrase you need, a scrapbook. Junk journal, refurbished materials. Interesting, Maurits. So thank you for the junk journal, Oksana. And in many carts, some of which can be viewed at the V&A, Victoria and Albert Museum in London, UK, people posed with objects that portrayed, pictured, depicted, represented wealth, such as art or sculptures, and even pets. A petal from a rose. So portrayed for Julia, portrayed for Lando, portrayed for VK, welcome VK, that represented says Vitali, represented says Maurits, represented says Manisco, represented for Julia, VK goes for portrayed. Represented says Oksana, represented says Victoria. But it's the object keyword. If you look at it, the object, the picture, the photograph portrays the person. It could be, I guess portrayed could work, but I think represented is a much better answer because the object represents wealth. That depicted wealth. How do you depict wealth? How do you make a picture of wealth, Patricia? I'm certain it's represented. This picture portrays, reflected, yes, reflected. The object was a symbol, and that's why it's represented. This picture portrays wealth, could be, is more fitting, definitely. Thank you. So, represented. That's one of the things with this exercise. Very often, there is more than one word, but which fits best, and represented is clearly best. Okay, Plunkett. I can't remember who Plunkett was. He's going to be an expert on the matter. Plunkett explains that the use of props, posts, pillars, braces helped people to remain still while photographers took their pictures. Connoted. I like connoted. Connoted's a very good word, definitely. Props, says Maurits. Props, says keyword. Prop, says Yuri. Prop, says Lando. Prop, says Vandana. Welcome, Vandana. It's been a while. Good to see you. Prop, says Julia. So what is the meaning of props here? Pillars, says Oksana. Marble palace, gold, money, James Bond, muscles, charm, wit, representations. So what is the meaning of the word props here? That's the secondary meaning, Oksana. Let's see, the secondary meaning is remain still. But it's like a prop is... Okay, this is really good, Maurits. Props, like funny things that can be in place when the pictures are taken, often with like cardboard things. Yes, but props in the theatre, on a movie set. That's it. Props are objects that an actor uses. In the film, the guy has a knife. The knife is a prop. The props are the things that the actors use, and this has a double meaning in this case, to help them to remain still. But props, things that are there. All of the others are just things to help remain still. A post, a pillar, a brace. Brace goes around your teeth. So in this case, it's props, because the meaning of the use of the props are things to help you make a definition. Items that aid acting. Very good, Lando. Yeah, so I don't know if I start using this fork to tell you that in my explanation, this is a prop. It's not a slang word, it's an acting word. Yes, exactly, Oksana. They should have props and pillars to remain still. Prop isn't a slang word. I think most theatres have a props department. Yeah, the props are just objects, the objects that people use. Okay. It's a technical theatre word. Yeah, that's it. Keyword. So since those early photographs required much longer disclosures, decorations, exposures, displays than photos do today, but also to incorporate the sense of a grand background or to show off your profession, for example. So exposures for Yuri, exposures for Vitali. where people were slanted against columns. Yes, and yes. This is the idea, Oksana. Exposures, as in light exposure, exactly. Exposure, yes, Lando. Light displays. A light display is normally done with lasers or with fireworks. Exposures. Exposure says Oksana. Exposure says Vandana. Longer light display, no. Decoration, no. Disclosure. Disclosure is the giving of information. Is the showing of information for the first time. Exposure. Exposure to light, to expose to light. So in this case, the exposure is the amount of time that the guy takes the cap off the camera, and the film at the back is exposed to light. So this is a technical photography word. Not that photography is like this anymore. Whoops. Yeah, people leant against whatever. Yes, and the whatever is the prop. Probably exposure. Yes, Patricia. Yes, you were exposed to English during this live stream. Very definitely, Yuri. By the way, Yuri, I really like the examples that you've been writing recently. They look really good. So, it's all about putting up, on, in, out an appearance and thinking about what's the vision of yourself you want to project, like an Instagram or Twitter profile. So, on says Vitali, up says Victoria, up says Manisco, on says keyword, on says Maulitz. Daddy isn't here to help. It's on, says Lando. Putting on, says Vandana. Putting on, says Oksana. Putting on, says Julia. Okay, an appearance is something that is not real. Yeah, so putting on an appearance, giving. It's like you put on a mask or you put on a dress. To put up. To put up with is to tolerate. I think put up on its own is to put on a wall. He put the picture up on the wall. To put in an appearance is to turn up somewhere. The star put in an appearance at the party. To put out. Put on an act. That's the phrase, Lando, exactly. Yeah, putting on an act. Put up with, to tolerate. To put in an appearance, to turn up, to go to a place. To put out. No, it's put up. It's to put on. To put on. Putting on. Yeah, it's something that's not real. Okay, so continue. You're going to choose something. Props is short for property. Yes, I missed that, but properties, very definitely, Vitali. There's something of an air, to put on an air, to put on airs and graces. To put on airs and graces. Not easy to pose for Dad. Okay, so off for Maurits, off for Lando, off for Vitali, off for Victoria. So that shows out, that shows off, that shows up, that shows away. Shows off, says Oksana. Shows off, says Julia. To show off. Look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. Okay, this is showing off. Yeah? Hi, El Billy. Lovely to see you. Showing off. To shows off. Or, okay, it's so to display. To show off. Yes, very definitely. To show up is to make somebody look silly. To make somebody look embarrassed. To show out. I think if you've got, you're trying to trick somebody and they get your trick, they show out. show away, no. To show off, to show to its best ability. To show up. Okay, 20 people showed up at the party. It's like, or to show somebody up. Yeah? He said he could speak many languages, but I showed him up. Similarly, on dating apps today, people use backgrounds and props. Here we go, props again, including eccentric, exotic, alien, outlandish, odd landscapes or animals to reflect their interest and how they like to see themselves. So Lando says outlandish, Oksana says exotic, so does Vandana and Vitali. Exotic for Maurits. Yeah, okay, to put on weight, but to put on an appearance. Odd, says Typhel. Exotic, says Elbili. Eccentric, says Yuri. Exotic, says Julia. Eccentric, says Victoria. Outlandish, says Patricia. Extravagant, says Yuri. I quite like extravagant. I think all of them work depending on the tone of the speaker. Eccentric, exotic, alien, outlandish, odd. I agree with you, Lando. They all work. Manisco says exotic. Patricia says perhaps exotic. So let's see, if it's an eccentric landscape, it would fit, but it's strange, very strange. But somebody who's eccentric, it's got this touch of weirdness, this slight negative connotation. Yeah, he's very eccentric, he's strange and unusual and a bit weird. Eccentric landscapes or animals? That's a really good question, Oksana. I'm now reading it very carefully. Eccentric landscapes or animals? I think it probably should, but it doesn't have to, Oksana. Exotic is very positive. Alien, from an alien planet. Well, maybe, yeah, you're from an alien planet or from another country. Exotic works both. Yes, keyword. Outlandish. Outlandish is very strange. It might be cool as well. Odd. Odd is not very positive. The most positive one here is exotic. Yeah, an exotic place. Travel to exotic places. By the end of the Victorian period, subterranean. By the end of the Victorian period, social etiquette, courtesy, civility, dignities was beginning to relax, and daters found new places to seek partners. Etiquette for Julia, etiquette for Oksana, etiquette for Vitali, etiquette for keyword, etiquette for Lando, etiquette for Maurits, etiquette for Victoria, etiquette for Patricia. Okay. Etiquette for Manisco. Good. This looks very good. Courtesy is being polite, but etiquette talks about the rules. Social manners. Yes, manners is also about being polite. And extravaganza. Smash the like, says Julia. Social civility. Social dignities. Well, it can't be dignities. Social etiquette. Etiquette are the rules of society, the rules of being polite. Social mores. I love it, Patricia. That's a good word. Dance halls played increasingly cheerful, optimistic, upbeat, happy, sunny music late into the night. Courtesy, says Elbili. Okay, courtesy. But etiquette goes further. Etiquette is supposed to talk about courtesy. So upbeat for Maurits and Julia and keyword. Upbeat for Victoria and Oksana and Lando. Upbeat for Vitali and Manu and Patricia. Upbeat for Vandana. Sunny. Yes, perky, lively. Again, all of these fit. I was all ears over the upbeat news. Cheerful music, upbeat music. But let's see. Upbeat is clearly the best one, because upbeat, we've got the beat of the music, and this word is playing with music. They all fit, but upbeat is by far the best. It's the best choice. Yeah. Because you have the beat of the music. Dun, 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 dun. That's the beat. Upbeat. Jaunty, jolly, merry, glad, ragtime dances gave way to jazz in the 20th century. Put on is a very versatile phrasal verb. Yes, she put on a posh accent. The boss can put on a show of being fierce. Very good. That I agree. Put is a phrasal verb with many meanings, and put on even more. Hi Manu, great to see you. Le party c'est fini. Jolly or jaunty, says Maurits. Buenas Manu. Jolly, says keyword. Jaunty, says Victoria. Jolly, says Oksana. Jaunty, says Julia. A neighbour artist said I had du chien, but I don't know what she really meant. Of the dog. I don't know either. Joni Mitchell. That's very good. Okay. Perky. Lively and cheerful. Yes. Glided. No. Jolly, says El Billy. So, again, glad ragtime dances, no. Merry could be. Jolly could be. Jaunty could be. I like jaunty. Jaunty has this touch of being a little bit naughty, it's got something interesting. Jaunty has this overtone of devil may care. I'm not going to obey the rules completely. I think that's the idea. A perky dance. Yeah, they all fit Maurits. It's a compliment, but she used it differently. Light-hearted, yeah. I think this was probably a very difficult question, this one. So, continue. Jaunty or jolly? Okay. It became more socially satisfactory, acceptable, tolerable, reasonable, all right for single women to go to bars and clubs with friends and meet people there. Acceptable, says Lando. Acceptable, says Vitali. Acceptable for Oksana. Acceptable for Maurits. Etiquette for the previous one. Yes, Manisco. Socially, well, the social etiquette made it more acceptable, says Julia. Acceptable for Patricia. You could put the fall. Acceptable for El Billy. Acceptable for Victoria. Reasonable. Yes, Typhoon, reasonable does fit. Acceptable for Vandana. Acceptable or tolerable. Tolerable might do as well. Tolerable is my second choice. More socially tolerable. But you see, I would say tolerated would be better than tolerable. It's more socially tolerated. Satisfactory is something that's satisfactory for you. Socially This is definitely socially acceptable. What the things that society accepts. Flair, but it means essay. Okay. With new dating spaces came new ways to sign, mark, flag, signal interest. And here comes my lag, oh dear. Hi Sultan, socially bearable. Yeah, tolerable would do for the previous one, socially bearable. But bearable talks about how you feel. So, signal says Lando, signal says Oksana, signal says El Billy, signal says keyword. Comme il faut. To mark interest, it would work, Maurits. To signal interest, says Julia. To mark, says Manu. Signal says Patricia. Signal says Vitali. Mark says Vandana. Mark says Manisco. Single, I think, is Victoria's corrector. New ways to sing as well. To sign. Comme il faut, correcting behaviour or etiquette. You could telegraph interest. New ways to signal and flag the behaviours. So to sign, no. To sign is normally talking about the sign language that deaf and dumb people use. To mark interest. It doesn't sound good at all. It could work. To mark interest. It's not a very good answer, but to show interest, Yuri, absolutely. To flag is to say there's a problem with this. I flagged this sentence because I didn't feel it was good. Open for business. To signal at a distance from here to somewhere else. Signal flags. Hey, is a signal. Okay, comme d'habitude, je suis en retard. Okay, and around this time in the 1920s, Berlin became the poster, placard, advertisement, billboard city for ultra-modern nightlife. Yes, you do show interest, Yuri. Ready, willing and available. Ready, willing and able. Yeah, signal interest is how one says to show sexual interest. Yeah, to signal interest. To demonstrate. Yes, El Billy. Poster, says Vitali. Billboard, says Manu. The new bill was passed last night. Poster City, says keyword. Poster, says Vandana. Poster for Maurits. Billboard, says Victoria. Billboard, says Manisco. Well done, Vandana. That's the point. The collocation is poster boy. And therefore poster city. Exactly, Vandana. Poster for El Billy. Billboard, says Julia. I guess they would all work, but the collocation of the poster boy, poster child. Billboard, says Patricia. Billboard, says Typhoon. Yep, and that's the point. Poster child, exactly. And that's why poster is better than the others. Poster city. It's more just the word poster, Oksana. But poster student. Shark Tank. Never seen it in my life, Ranchodas. Hi, Ranchodas. the poster here being the example that everybody uses. The epitome, yes, absolutely. And it's just using poster to say epitome, but you need a noun. Poster child, poster boy, poster child is a collocation. But here, poster, using it to say example par excellence. Yes. Happy to see you, Manu. And some Berlin clubs were immense multi-level with movable floors and still also equal even for water ballet shows, says Jennifer Evans, a professor at Carleton University, California. Yes, exactly, because you put it on a poster to advertise equality, to promote equality. That's the point keyword, yes. Even for Oksana, even for Patricia, even for El Billy, even for Vandana. This one was pretty easy. Even for Victoria, even for Julia. I can't picture it. Even for Manisco. I think they probably got movable swimming pools, Lando. Okay, even water for ballet shows, even for Manisco. Even for Maurits, even for Manu. Let's go for the next. Technology of the time. Empowered, entitled, warranted, enabled dancers to flirt in busy clubs. Technology of the time, empowered, entitled, warranted, enabled dancers to flirt in busy clubs. Enabled, says Oksana. Empowered, says Lando. Enabled, says Vitali. Enabled, says Billy. Enabled, says Maurits. The company breeds the red ink and doesn't get even for the revenue. The company breeds red ink. I love the phrase, Julia. Enabled, says Vandana. Enabled, says Yuri. But notice, empower is more general. Enabled, says Yuri. Enabled, says Julia. Entitled, says Victoria. The king wanted to have another one built for her. To enable, to give the possibility. Yes, Yuri. Enabled. To empower is to make somebody more independent. They say that being allowed to vote empowered women. To empower, to have more control over things. Yeah, enabled is much more natural, Lando, I quite agree. The boss empowered me to vote on behalf of the company. Okay, this legal document empowers me to represent you. Your live stream enabled me to speak English. To entitle means to have the right to. This passport entitles me to the right of doing this. More than thrilled with one. To warrant, to deserve, to enable, to give the possibility to enable. So to make something possible. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, enough for today. That's been very nice. So next stream will be on Thursday. Empowerment of women. Absolutely, Victoria. Thursday. 7th of August at 3:30 p.m. Thank you, Yuri. It's been great to see you. He felt that he was entitled to all the employee benefits. Very definitely. Very good, Julia. Thank you, Oksana. It's been great as always. Thank you for coming, Julia. Thank you, Victoria. Thank you, El Billy. Thank you, Yuri. Thank you, Keyword. Thank you, Lando. Thank you, Patricia. It's been great having you all. So, let's see, participants. Thank you to El Billy. Thank you to Julia. Thank you to Keyword. Thank you to Lando. Thank you to Manisco. Thank you to Manu. Thank you to Maurits. Thank you to Oksana. Thank you to Patricia. Thank you to Typhor. Thank you to Vandana. Thank you to Victoria. Thank you to Yuri. And thank you to Vitali. It's been great. Have a great week, and I'll see you all on Thursday. Thank you for coming, Vitali. It's been great having you. So take care, all of you, and bye for now.